You are called to be a leader. You may feel it pulling on your heart, yet you feel unworthy. So first, we'll ask the question, what makes a great leader? Is it strength, power, the ability to command a room? The world says leadership is about standing above others. But God says it's about bowing before Him. It's not about control, it's about humility, faith, and courage. If there's one man in Scripture who understood this, it was David. He wasn't born into royalty. He didn't grow up in a palace, trained to rule. No, he was a shepherd, out in the fields, forgotten, overlooked. But God saw what no one else did. When the prophet Samuel came looking for Israel's next king, every strong, battle-ready brother stood before him, and each time God said, "No, not him," because people look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And David had a heart submitted to God. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of God more. It's knowing that no matter how high you rise, you never outrank God. The moment you start leading without Him is the moment you start falling away from Him. That's why God chose David. Not because he was perfect, but because He knew who was. But David's journey didn't stop there. Before he ever wore a crown, before he ever sat on a throne, he had to face something bigger than himself, Goliath. This wasn't just a battle, it was a moment that defined who David really was. An entire army stood frozen in fear. A giant stood mocking their God. Yet David only saw an opportunity for the Lord to show His power. He didn't step onto that battlefield with armor. He didn't carry a sword. All he had was faith and a stone, and that's all he needed, because the battle is the Lord's. You might be facing giants right now. Fear, depression, financial struggles, doubt. And you're waiting for the perfect conditions, the perfect strength, the perfect timing before you act. But God isn't asking you to have all the answers. He's asking you to trust the one who does. Step onto that battlefield. Throw your stone. Because when God is with you, nothing can be against you. David wasn't perfect. He messed up, big time. There were moments he fell into sin, moments he made decisions that broke God's heart. But what set him apart wasn't that he never fell. It's that when he did, he ran back to God. That's why God called him a man after my own heart. Real courage isn't just about standing up to giants. Sometimes the hardest battle you'll ever face is your own reflection. It takes courage to admit when you've failed, to come back to God and say, "I was wrong, I need you." David never let his failure keep him from God's presence. He kept worshiping, he kept repenting, he kept God as his own leader in order for him to lead others. That's why he wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." Because no matter how high he climbed, he knew he was still just a sheep, and God was still his shepherd. Whatever position God has placed you in, whether you lead a family, a team, a ministry, or just your own life, stay close to Him. Because the moment you think you can do it alone is the moment you're setting yourself up to fail. Greatness isn't about rising higher, it's about bowing lower. Stay humble, walk by faith, lead with courage, and most of all, never lead without God, because the greatest leaders are those who follow Him.